Hello. So it is March 12th, and I am so behind on the Sumerian thing where I've been sick and my voice has been gone. So I am going to start fast tracking this even more so than what my original plan to fast track about a week or so ago. So technically, I'm on module 3, um, module 3.3. So module 3.3. So that's technically where I'm at right now, but I'm going to stop going through the videos with them and just going through the basics of what they're trying to address in the videos, just because sometimes he takes a little bit longer. He goes over more things. And that's a great resource to look at and to read and to watch. But just because of the time constraints, I'm just going to try to fast track this a little bit. So I'm actually going to start from creating a new scene. So I'm in the Sumerian, and we're going to click create new scene. I'm going to name this tutorial. And I want to put today's date. That's kind of how I like to do things. And I do it year, 4-digit year, 2020, 2-digit month, 03, and today's date of the 12th. And yes, you can tell I'm still a little sick. Okay, so what we have here, what we're going to do is fast track again, like what he's already done. We're going to create entity, and we're going to create a table. So let me go over that with you. Okay, to create a table, we're going to click on create entity and click on a 3D primitive of adding a box. So a box is, just as it sounds, as a box. So I'm on a Microsoft Surface with a mouse pad. I do not have a mouse. I'm using a trackpad. So I'm holding on the right hand click and using my other finger to just sweep side to side using the trackpad. Okay, that's how you can kind of maneuver. Another way you can maneuver is, I think it's shift, and then you hold it over and you click, and then you use another finger to move to the right or left, and it'll shift like that. So to shift back and forth, you hold shift. There's a good way to remember that. I just now thought of that. But to kind of do like an aerial view and under view, it's right click and use the other finger to move it, right to left, up, down. I'm really proud of that shift that I just came up with. Shift, hold shift to shift it. Okay, I'm like super proud of that. I gotta write that. Anyway, so I have a box. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the dimensions of this. So we're going to make this a table. So let's see. So I'm going to hold this go over until I get to like this kind of viewpoint. So to just go ahead and get started on this right hand side. Okay, on the left hand side. On the left hand side, we have tutorial, which is the name that we just made. We have a box and some default lighting and cameras. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the right hand side, make sure we have box selected like we do, and go to the right hand side, and we're going to select box, and we're going to change that to table. Okay, so you can see on the left hand side the name's changed to table as well. Not going to worry about a description. We're going to click on transform, and so you can see it has an X X coordinate. That's what I'm looking for. Coordinate, Y coordinate, and a Z coordinate. So X is like side to side, Y is like up and down, and Z is like a depth. And you can see like there's color. So there's red. You can move this. I lost it. Click on that again. So holding the left mouse button and let's see. Right? No, not that one. It's one of those things you do it until you have to describe it, and then you're not sure how to do it. That's not what I want to do either. There we go. Yeah, it is the left mouse button. I guess I just wasn't holding it right. So if you hold that left mouse button and then use your other finger on the trackpad to move it right or left. Okay. Let's see. And you can see here where it changes the coordinates of it. Another way you can change the coordinates is just by manually typing in something. And okay, that was too far. Let's put that as a 2. And let's see. Let's go to the y-axis, which is up and down. And you can see it's green. And this is green. So hold the left mouse button, and you can see we go up and down. So I want to see where this is in regard to the grid that you can see on the bottom. I'm holding the right mouse button, and I'm going up to see how far this is off the ground, because I don't really want it off the ground. Excuse me. And that confident is why I haven't done one of these videos for a while. So I don't want it off the ground, but if you look on the y-axis, you can see whenever I moved it up with that arrow, it changed to 1.39, yada, yada. I'm just going to make this 1. Don't want 1. No, it's still off the ground. You can see it's off the ground. So I'm going to leave that 0. And it's off the ground, but is it under? It's also under. See, don't want it under. So let's try this again. 0.5. Okay, that's good enough right now. And for the Z, it has like the depth of it. And going to make that, because I'm not sure what I'm going for on this. Yeah, it changes that. I don't want to change that. So what I can do here, I can transform like the shape of it. Right now it's a cube. That's a perfect square, right? So I can transform the shape of it to, say, make that 10. So the X is 10, so it's got longer. I don't want it quite 10 though. So let's do 7. And the Y is going to be, let's do 0.1. Okay. And we can make that, that's a little too wide. Okay, that works. And this is not, I don't remember what they had in the video, so, but you get the idea, like this is what they're doing in the video. Okay. And want to hold shift and move this, make sure you're in the grid and holding the right mouse button and move this over. Okay. So have table. So the next thing that we were doing in that video was going to create a table offset, create entity and entity. And we're going to name this entity table offset. So here, and we are going to actually, what we want this offset to do is to be like a pivot point. So we are going to do a little bit more, be more specific on the coordinates of our table. So I want this to be, so I have table selected, and I'm going to drag this right over to the line right here. I want it right there on this line. So that takes a little bit of maneuvering. And the whole maneuvering thing does take practice. I'm like very impressed with myself that I'm able to do this as halfway decent as I am, because it does take practice. So don't get too frustrated with it when you're having trouble with it, or maybe you're just automatically get it. You're better than me, but just be aware sometimes if you're like me, it does take practice. Okay, so I have it like lined up. It looks like it's lined up. Looks good enough. So now we're going to clone a table offset, and you don't really see anything, but there's an entity there. And we are going to move that like to be here, because this is where we want our table to kind of tilt. That's kind of like the tilting point. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use this blue arrow to move it back a little bit. And trying to see where it's at in correlation. And let's see. So let's look at it from the top. Let's get it on top. And then let's use this, maybe. Move it back. So I just need to see where it's at. So it looks like it's under it. I lost it. And let's see. That's not what I wanted. Okay, table offset. Okay, that looks good for right now. Okay, so the table offset is like in the edge of it, the table, because that's where it's going to tilt. And then you can see the table is right there. So let's see. And so what we're going to do now is nest this. So what we're going to do is nest table inside table offset, just so that that's one is really living in the other. So table offset is the parent, and then table is the child. Okay, so we got a table here and a table offset. So now we're going to put some coloring to it. Actually, before we do that, we're going to make the ground. So going to create entity, and we are going to select disk. Okay, so make sure disk is selected over here. And I'm just going to drag it out so it gets away from that. And disk is it's considered three-dimensional. And I'm going to move this up. It's not what I wanted to do. Oh, okay, I need to hold the left mouse button. So what you can do with this here, and again, the tutorial goes into more details about what a disk does and some of the characteristics of it, which I'm not going to get into. But what we're going to go ahead and name it, instead of naming it disk, we're going to name it ground. And let's see. And what we can do also, so I want to, and this is always a little tricky for me. I always forget what to do this. So the other thing that we can do is like the rotation of it. So you can do this a few different ways. For one, we can click up here in the top of the left-hand side of the grid, the workspace, and click on that rotate. And then we can drag it to what we want. This is always a struggle for me. I'm not very good at grabbing this and make it do what I want. Okay, so we can tilt it like you can see right there. I think that's working. And you can see here the x-axis changed. So I'm holding the right mouse down and see where it is and coordinate with the table, and it needs to be lower. So I have the ground still selected, which was the disk. And for the y-axis, I'm changing that to 1. And it didn't really do anything. Keep clicking on something else. Okay, so let's change this to 0. There we go, it's on the bottom. At least I believe so anyways. Okay, now we're going to transform the size of this. So click on this little scale. That's what we're going to call it, the scale. So let's make that a 10 by 10 by 10. I don't think the Z does anything. So let's just make that back to 0. On this right here, for me, it's like a guessing game until I figure it out. Okay, now let's see how it looks right now. So let's kind of scroll up, and so you can see it's underneath. And we look underneath because it's a one-sided disk. You can only see one side. The other side looks transparent. So if you look on top, you can see the disk, And if you look on the bottom, you don't see anything, you just see the table. So let's see, you want to hold shift to shift this. I'm very proud of myself for coming up with that. Try this again. Shift. Okay. And want to rotate it. Want to shift it. So one of the things that you'll notice is that the fact you can't really, it's hard to kind of see the difference between the table and the ground. And that's going to be the next thing that we're going to talk about. Because they're both the same color. It's not easy to tell one from the other. And I want to give myself some more workspace. Now, this is not the exact same thing as the tutorial. He had some different numbers and some different expectations, but this is basically the things that he's wanting us to do. So, okay, we're going to add some characteristics, some styling. So for the ground, let's go ahead and click on ground, and we're going to close that transform. And let's go ahead and click on material. And on the color diffuse, we are going to change that. It's ground, so I'm going to make it green. Okay, and you can see it's green. And I usually hit escape or click somewhere. There we go, to get out of it. So now you have green, indicating the ground. And you can see obviously a lot more difference in regards to the color of the table and the color of the ground. So let's say next we're going to add, so he covered the color, and we can do that for the table as well. We can give it a color of whatever we want. I'll make it yellow, and voila, I have a yellow table. And let's see. Okay, you can see all of that. Let's see what else. I want to go ahead and move this. So right now, as he's got circles, I'm on the rotational, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go back to translate, which is this up and down and right and left, and put this in the middle, because it's just irritating me being off onto the side. Okay, there we go. So that irritates me a little less. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add some textures to like the table. So I'm going to pause this for a second, and I'm going to try to find an image, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm back. So what I Googled was a cardboard box texture image. So find an image, whatever image you want to use. I'm going to use this one. So right click, save image as. So save it wherever you're going to save it. Cardboard image. Okay, it looks like it's saving as a JPEG. That's fine. Save. Okay, now we're going back to the Sumerian console, and I think it's here under assets. Let's see, or import assets, sorry. So up here, there's import assets. And on the right-hand side, we can browse for assets that we want. So let's click browse. And go to pictures and find it. There it is. The following file has an unsupported format. No. Shoot, it didn't download as a JPEG. Okay, so let's go back up a step. Let's see if this does. It says a JPEG, but it's doing a JFIF. Okay, let's just do it this way and see if this works. I'll name this JPEG, give it an extension of JPEG, and change this to all files. and click save and see if this works. So where was I? Import assets, browse, pictures. Okay, this seems to work. So I just had to rename the extension, the file type from the, even though it say JPEG, it's a JFIF. I'm not really, don't really know the difference, but this seems to be working. So we're going to go with just renaming the extension to JPEG. Okay, so it downloaded it in the default pack here. And so we can see this cardboard texture. So on the left-hand side, and I'm still on the table, because you can see it's table right here. I'm still on the table, and I'm going to change that to a cardboard texture. So what I think I can just drag this over here. Okay, yeah, that seems to work. And if you look closely, it's got like the grainy stuff of a cardboard box, right? So we made a cardboard box with that. And I think that's all we've done so far. We're going to make boxes, container boxes next. But this is basically how you can change the images and the textures of something. So for the grass, let's say I want something that's more realistic than just that green color. Let's do grass texture JPEG. So let's say I want something like, let's do this one. File, save image as, and it's already JPEG, so it's pictures, so let's go leave it like that. And to import, browse. It's under pictures, so that's what we want. Just need to find the grass texture. Give it a minute and it'll upload in here. So there it is. So what we're going to do, we're going to select our ground. You want the ground, as you can see right here. And you can see right here, it's ground on the right-hand side. Go ahead and close that. So what we're going to do, same thing when we did the cardboard. We're going to drag this dark green texture from the grass and move it over here to the right-hand side. So now we have what appears to be grass. May not be the most realistic looking, but you get the idea. That's how you can add an image and change the texture and stuff. So that's all for this video. I think this is about where they're at right now. And this one, changing material and color. So we changed the material and we changed the color. So we're good on that. And so I'm going to stop this video and we'll keep trying to fast track this and get done with Sumerian. I really like Sumerian. It's a lot of fun. But there's other things I want us to cover for this whole create, build, learn. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.